All right, looks like that is Rotten Tomato jamming for Tomorrowland, and that is 404 lead jammer status for the Killer Bees. That is Fatal Error, your jammer for the Killer Bees. On scoring pass now, Rotten Tomato getting through for initial for Tomorrowland. And the Bees call off the jam, 4-0 for the Killer Bees.
And the first jam of Saturday is in the books.
Fatal Error gonna jam again for the Killer Bees, and that is 313 Toucan Slam taking the line for Tomorrowland. Some offense there at the front, but now bridged out and lead jammer status again to Fatal Error. But right through behind, that is Toucan Slam. Trying to catch up with some super fast skating. Great move there from Toucan Slam on the outside line. Following the other jammer, getting 4 points for Tomorrowland. Fatal Error gonna have to call off the jam to stop them from scoring any more points. That's gonna take us to 8-4. 4 points for both teams scored that last jam.
Equally matched on that last jam for sure. Coming up to the line for the Killer Bees, we've got Grayson the Destroyer. And looks like Harshmellow for the Tomorrowland. Grayson the Destroyer tries to find an outside lane to get through, but
we have a lead jammer, but still in the pack. And Harshmellow is actually out first, but lead jammer status to the Bees. And they're going to call off the jam.
Grayson got swallowed up by the pack and said, I will call that off and I'll do one more. Going to stay up there and do another jam.
But are they both? No, they want to use with like the. This is a power jam here for Tomorrowland. Being taken advantage of by Blueberry Bruiser, who has had a great weekend so far. We've gotten to watch at least 2 of their games. And they have showed out jamming in both of those. Some offense there from number 909, that is Shane Champa. And back engaged with the pack, that is your jammer for the Bees. Great defense there in the back from Comet on Tomorrowland, along with number 909, Shane Champa, and I believe number 357. We got there. That's going to be a 7-point jam for Tomorrowland.
Looks like we got Fatal Error coming to the line again. Going up against Rotten Tomato.
And lead jammer status quickly established by Rotten Tomato through on the inside line. Fatal Error also through for their initial pass. An apex jump there from Rotten Tomato and calling off the jam, putting 4 points on the board for Tomorrowland.
And holding our Killer Bees to 0.
All right, we have Cherry Garcia jamming for Tomorrowland against Fatal Error for the Killer Bees. And lead jammer status is earned by Cherry Garcia.
Fatal Error still trying to find their way through the pack.
Looking for that inside line. That is Cherry Garcia, but met with their own teammate. An initial pass received by Fatal Error.
Cherry
Garcia calling off the jam, putting 4 points on the board for Tomorrowland. Looks like that is Harshmellow coming up to the line to jam for Tomorrowland. And that is
Grayson the Destroyer
for the Bees. Both jammers hit to that outside line, run back by their respective blockers. And Harshmellow with a great juke and fake out there on the inside, but denied by the pivot from the Bees. Both jammers fighting some very strong defenses.
The postman is all over the track trying to cover that inside corner.
And Harshmellow has received lead jammer status.
We finally have a lead.
Still stuck behind that wall.
A little bit of a fake out there, and Grayson the Destroyer is able to get through for their initial pass.
And Harshmellow is going to call off the jam. No points scored that jam. And sounds like we have a penalty being assessed at the end there from Sam Antics. We love Sam Antics. We love all of our beautiful refs out there making this all happen.
We got Toucan Slam going up against Slamby. Lots of slamming.
A little bit of a pack advantage.
But it's Toucan Slam that comes out in front with lead jammer status for
taking
Tomorrowland.
Advantage of having more blockers on the track, getting that lead status. And quickly through for 4 points for Tomorrowland. Through for initial pass, that is Slamby. And then going to pick up 4 more points is Toucan Slam, choosing to call it off before Slamby's able to put any more points on the board. Coming up to the line, that is Rotten Tomato for Tomorrowland.
And Grayson the Destroyer again for the Bees.
Your start line today is sponsored by Dr. Michael B. Lee of Edmonds Orthopedic Center. Dr. Lee is an orthopedic surgeon specializing in knee surgery, shoulder surgery, fracture care, and sports medicine, keeping our skaters safe. Lead jammer status to Grayson the Destroyer.
Rotten Tomato making it through for their initial pass as well. hoping to put some pressure on, and does.
3 points there for the Bees and 3 for Tomorrowland. That is going to be match points on that jam. Great hustle there from Rotten Tomato at the end.
Pick up those extra points at the end. Got a fatal error going up against, oh, it's Cherry Garcia again. Cherry Garcia pushed to the outside.
That was number 2 from the Bees. That is Night Terror.
And
Comet head into the box very efficiently. Love to see it.
And lead status goes to the Bees, and fatal error makes it through. Cherry Garcia pushed back and still trying to make it through the pack for their initial pass. Gets pushed to the inside again.
Good recycle there. Very smart from Cherry Garcia. Only going behind the people that they needed to go by.
Persistence pays off.
Going to be a low block call on that last blocker.
Cherry Garcia getting through, forcing fatal error to call off the jam.
All right. That is Rotten Tomato coming to the line for Tomorrowland.
Going up against Grayson, the Destroyer.
Both jammers through, but Grayson, the Destroyer, is your lead jammer.
Little jammer on jammer defense. And Grayson says, I'll just call that off, thanks.
That's why that is one of the many reasons that lead is such an important thing in roller derby. It gives you all of the options, all the power.
Like a quick reset where we get Comet and fatal error back up to the line. Fatal error pushed to the outside. Comet trying to work that inside seam. Pushing past all of these jammers. All these blockers. Is
great push out there from Junie Gloom on Tomorrowland at that start. Both jammers still stuck in that pack, but Comet is going to make your lead jammer. And through for initial pass, that is fatal error.
Got a Tomorrowland skater going to the box, which is going to give us a little bit of a
Comet going to call off the jam, but picking up all 4 of those points before calling it. And an official review is going to be called by the Bees.
We got Harshmellow coming to the line for our Tomorrowland. And coming to the line for the Bees is fatal error.
I think
that makes a little bit better.
Yeah. All right, hit out to the inside line. That's going to be Harshmellow. And to the outside line with the hit out, that is the Tomorrowland Blockers. A great juke on the outside line there from fatal error. Going to earn them lead jammer status for the Bees.
Fighting that pack. Harshmellow is still trying to find that opening and finds it on the inside. Fights their way through.
Great cutback there. Looks like we have Grayson the Destroyer jamming for the Bees, and that is gonna be Blueberry Bruiser for Tomorrowland. Looking for some jammer on jammer defense off the start. Blueberry Bruiser denied on that inside line from number 2, Night Terror.
Night Terror with an excellent recycle.
Blueberry Bruiser fighting in the back of that pack against the captain for the Bees. And through for lead jammer status after 40 seconds. That is Blueberry Bruiser. That is not from a lack of effort. That is from an existence of some great defense from both teams.
Oh,
Quickly through for 4 points.
And we're on a power jam. Grayson the Destroyer called for a forearm.
And Blueberry Bruiser choosing to call that jam, freezing the jammer in the box. And the Mob City travel, and then also fund the fire department.
And give it
children.
I know, come on.
In need.
There's nothing better than that.
Oh, I argue a Rotten Tomato power jam might be.
That might be better.
Equivalent.
That's a pretty good jam.
But some defense up at the front, running Rotten Tomato to the back.
Rotten Tomato with an apex jump gets through to pick up lead.
Tomorrowland looking to do some offense. And they do. Through for 4 points for Tomorrowland.
Those Tomorrowland blockers are creating a lane.
That was a great cutback there to the middle from your jammer for the Bees. Calling off the jam before the Bees are able to score any points. That's going to be Tomorrowland. That takes us to a score of 42 for Tomorrowland and 19 for the Bees. Blockers to Tomorrowland's 3, but I will say they do not have a jammer, so give or take. And a move there on the inside line from Toucan Slam, who is your jammer for Tomorrowland. Out there we have Rotten Tomato, Comet, and Chain Champa as those offensive blockers in this power jam. Nope, I lied. Rotten Tomato, Comet, and Jupiter.
Toucan Slam just weaving through the pack to pick up 4 points for the Tomorrowland.
Great move there on the inside line from Toucan Slam. And that is going to be a helmet cover pass at the end there to number 404. Fatal error. Tomorrowland's going to call off the jam.
Fatal error is just going to go ahead and put that star right on. Come up to the line. Going to go against Cherry Garcia.
Quickly through on the outside line. That is fatal error for the Bees. Cherry Garcia looking for that opening and finds it. Through for initial pass. And looking to put some points on the board for the Bees is fatal error, but Cherry Garcia also on scoring. And through right behind, both jammers putting 4 points on the board. Now I don't even know who's in front.
Oh, jammer on jammer.
Jammer on jammer action there. Through for 4 points is Fatal Error. Terry Garcia stuck behind that defense in the back of the pack. Number 88 getting sent to the penalty box.
357 called for a multiplayer.
Your jammer now is Marshmallow for Tomorrowland. We have had a helmet cover pass to the pivot Marshmallow.
During that star pass, Fatal Error was able to do an apex jump. There's a second one right in a row.
Yes, that is going to take them to 20 points this jam. Marshmallow now with the star on, fighting up against two wall in the front of B's blockers. And that jam is going to come to its natural end. It's going to be a 22-point jam for the Bees. And an 8-point jam for Tomorrowland.
Well, with that 22-point jam, that really brings the Bees up to 41 to Tomorrowland's 58.
Math is not my strong suit, but that's not a lot of points. And Blueberry Bruiser says, I'd like to make that gap a little wider. Gets lead jammer status now on a scoring pass.
And it's Grayson the Destroyer.
And denied by number 106.
Grayson the Destroyer up there for the Bees, trying to find their way through as well.
Denied again on that outside line by number 106. That is Fernandad. I can't read that.
Ferdinand.
Thank you.
Ferdinand.
Your lovely, friendly neighborhood announcer who is also dyslexic. Not sure if this is the right career for me, but I'm in it. There's a reason I'm not getting paid.
Not getting paid. All right.
Fighting against that defense up at the front is your Tomorrowland jammer, and meanwhile,
we got a star pass.
That was Boo Boo becoming the jammer.
Rotten Tomato coming to the line for Tomorrowland. And it's going to be Felon Melon coming to the line for the Bees.
Rotten Tomato taking a hit on Felon Melon, getting through for lead jammer status. Now, I'm going to give a fun fact here. If you didn't know, Rotten Tomato's little sibling is Marshmallow. And so he knows what it feels like to see somebody beat on your little sibling or young little tiny jammer, but no mercy in roller derby. We have a helmet cover pass to Fatal Error for the Bees. And through for 4 points, that is Rotten Tomato.
Felon Melon passed the helmet cover to Fatal Error. Oh, going down hard on the inside is Rotten Tomato.
And a low block called by Shenanigans. That's going to take us to a power jam for Fatal Error. Still with the pivot hat on, jammer star in hand.
Trying to get through.
And going to receive a penalty, so we're going to have a little jammer do-si-do.
And up comes Rotten Tomato. Now, Fatal Error will only have to serve as long as Rotten Tomato served in that penalty box.
Rotten Tomato running up that inside line, taking that 4 points for Tomorrowland.
After a short sit, we've got Fatal Error back on the track. Just tiptoeing around that outside line.
And through 4 initial pass, finally, that is the Bees. 4 points on the board for Tomorrowland. Just seconds left in this jam. Both jammers realizing that. Slow on down. That is going to be a 16-point jam for Tomorrowland.
Bees are sending Grayson the Destroyer up to the line again. That looks like Toucan Slam going up the line for Tomorrowland. Push to the inside.
By number 14, that is Slamby with the hit out.
Toucan Slam working their way through to try and find another option. And weaves through the pack to pick up lead.
Dancing along that outside line. Bees wanting a cut call for one of those blockers, but I believe that jammer stayed right on the line. For anyone who doesn't know, on the line is considered in roller derby. Toucan Slam gonna call it off. Great awareness there on that track of where they were. Knowing when to go back and when to stay in.
Just a little over 4 minutes left to go in this half. Gonna face Fatal Error for the Bees.
Comet looking for that outside line, but denied by number 106.
And Fatal Error is called for a back block.
Great defense there at the back from number 106.
But
on that jammer.
Tomorrowland taking advantage, hopefully, of that power jam, trying to push their way through, trying to find some offensive blocking.
Hit out again by number 106 on the Bees. Ran all the way back as far as possible. And Comet finding space on that outside line. Lead jammer status given to Comet.
Night Terror called for out of play.
Pushed out to that outside line, but both jammers are off the track, so both jammers being run back. Fatal Error driving through those Tomorrowland blockers. No pass, no penalty at the end there. Rotten Tomato coming to the line for Tomorrowland. And that is Grayson the Destroyer jamming for the Bees. Rotten Tomato looking for that inside line. Takes it. Gets lead jammer status for Tomorrowland.
Grayson handing off the star to the postman. The postman, your pivot is going to now be your jammer of record.
Rotten Tomato looking to score all those points before calling off the jam and is able to do so. 4 points on the board for Tomorrowland. I love when the refs do sparkle fingers with their points because it makes it so much more clear to see. And sparkle fingers.
And sparkle fingers. Hello, yeah. We have the flashiest refs.
We really do. Going to be a timeout called by the Bees.
To the line for the Bees. And Toucan Slam for Tomorrowland.
Lead jammer status given to Fatal Error, but then they are taken out on the inside line. Through first is going to be Toucan Slam, but not lead jammer.
Which means Fatal Error decides to call off the jam before Toucan Slam can get back to the pack. Holds Toucan Slam to 0 on that jam. Looks like we're going to have Rotten Tomato going up against Grayson the Destroyer. Ruby Roundhouse is wearing the pivot cover this time for Bees.
That's going to be an illegal position call on that blocker for the Bees because they were on the track but not within the jammer and pivot line. They will be able to return to the track after serving that penalty. Mater on, are we on a power jam?
We are on a power jam.
Mater on a power jam.
There
Great
was a
offense there from Tomorrowland.
There was a star pass right before the penalty. So our jammer of record now is Ruby Roundhouse.
Beautiful offense there from Hell No Kitty and number 27, that is Jupiter, on the inside line, allowing Rotten Tomato to get through basically unchallenged. And that is going to take us to halftime. All right, that is Rotten Tomato jamming for Tomorrowland, and for the Bees, that is Fatal Error. Up at the front of the pack, that is Rotten Tomato with 2 to beat, and lead jammer status given to Rotten Tomato, but right behind, that is Fatal Error.
Both teams at full strength.
Looking for some offense there from their teammates, but denied that apex jump by number 2. That is Night Terror. All right, that is Grayson the Destroyer jamming for the Bees, and
going up against Toucan Slam for Tomorrowland.
Grayson the Destroyer stuck at the back of the pack. Meanwhile, Toucan Slam is through for lead. Toucan Slam now on your scoring pass, looking to put some points on the board. A great apex jump. Can you call it an apex jump if it's not in the apex?
It's the middle of the track jump.
That was beautiful. A great straightaway jump there from Toucan Slam. And it looks like we have had a helmet cover pass. Your jammer now for the Bees is going to be Boo Boo. And they are through for their initial pass.
Toucan Slam hits that pack, gets through, and calls off the jam.
Picking up all 4 of those points. It's going to be a 12-point jam for Tomorrowland.
They hold the Bees to 0 on that jam. Fatal Error coming to the line for the Bees. Going to go up against
Blueberry Bruiser. Some jammer on jammer action there at the start and taking the outside line. Ooh, doing a barrel roll is Blueberry Bruiser, but up quickly. Your lead jammer is Fatal Error for the Bees. Great move there on the inside line from Fatal Error, from the in to the out, back to the in, and 4 points on the board. Oh no, my mistake. 3 points on the board for the Bees, that pass. Great hit there from Blueberry Bruiser, still trying to complete initial pass. Rotten Tomato absorbing that jammer impact. Number 1-0 looking to do some offense for their jammer.
Bruiser making it through.
Rotten Tomato going to pick up a multiplayer penalty.
Fatal Error gets past a couple of blockers there and calls off the jam.
It's going to be all 4 points from that pass, but only got 3 on that initial scoring pass.
Comet coming to the line for Tomorrowland. Going to be skating against Boo Boo, it looks like.
Starting in a no pass. And Boo Boo is going to take advantage of that and get lead jammer status, but Comet is out and hot on their tail. Some great fast skating there from Comet to force that call off. But great job getting lead at that start from Boo Boo. Boo Boo going to come around and just jam again.
Seems so nice. I think I'll do it twice.
I would not want to do it once or twice.
Seeing Jupiter coming to the line for Tomorrowland.
One similarity about these teams is I've noticed they have a lot of skaters who do both jamming and blocking.
Definitely a utility player team.
Now, Boo Boo out first, but lead jammer is Jupiter.
Jupiter picked up lead, but then got swallowed back up by the pack.
But it looks like Jupiter picked up a penalty there, so was not able to call off the jam even though they got lead. So Boo Boo picking up 4 points. We will have a 2-minute jam.
And Boo Boo is now on a power jam, getting some offensive help from their blockers.
Going to be a multiplayer call
on Tomorrowland 577.
Boo Boo getting hit out and run back to the back of the pack. And now re-engaging is Jupiter back from the penalty box.
Boo Boo catching.
Driving out of play. That's going to be Boo Boo picking up 4 more points for the Bees.
This jam is going to go the full 2 minutes.
This jam will go the full 2 minutes.
Absolutely will.
Boo Boo looking to see if they can get that. Wow, beautiful move there. Conserving their energy through the laps was clearly worth it to be able to do that big juke out in. 4 points on the board. 12-point jam for the Bees. No points for Tomorrowland, that jam.
Nice
that
work.
That is big for the Bees.
Two-can slam coming up against Fatal Error again.
Great move from the in to the out there from Toucan Slam, getting them lead jammer status. But Fatal Error threw right behind. Toucan Slam throwing themselves into the air. Fatal Error says, I can do that too.
But lands it and picks up 4 points. And Toucan Slam is going to the box on that cut track penalty. Fatal Error makes it through for another 4 points for the Bees.
I believe that was a low block picked up from that jammer for crashing into those skaters.
My bad.
It's okay. You don't play derby.
I know. Fatal Error weaving their way through, picks up another 4 points for the Bees.
It's going to be another at least 12-point jam for the Bees.
Toucan Slam
exploding out of the penalty box into that pack.
Holding on to that outside corner, Fatal Error is able to pick up 4 more points on a 16-point jam right now.
Hit out by number 2, but because they also go down, Toucan Slam is able to get back up and re-enter.
Another
4 points for Tomorrowland.
Fatal Error. Little jammer on jammer bumping.
Defense up at the front, pushed out by number 357. That is going to be Junie Gloom on Tomorrowland.
Night Terror holding that inside line for the Bees.
That is going to be a 24-point jam for the Bees.
All right, we're back to action. Bruiser pushing on Grayson the Destroyer and is able to then get through the pack for lead.
Out for their initial pass is Grayson the Destroyer. Due for 4 points for Tomorrowland. Calling off the jam, that is Blueberry Bruiser.
Calling off that jam. Heading back to the bench. That's some good heads-up derby. Gonna send out Comet for Tomorrowland. Going up against Grayson the Destroyer again. Comet trying to break their way right through that tripod. And it's Grayson the Destroyer who makes it through for lead status. And Comet completing their initial pass for Tomorrowland. Grayson the Destroyer calls off the jam before Comet can make it back to the pack.
Alrighty, that is Rotten Tomato coming to the line for Tomorrowland and Fatal Error jamming for the Bees. Fatal Error up at the front, pushing that pack out of play, gets lead jammer status for the Bees.
The Postman.
Rotten Tomato also out and through for their initial pass.
The Postman was trying to hold Rotten Tomato there, but Rotten Tomato breezed through. Fatal Error calls off the jam.
And that is going to be points for Tomorrowland. 2 points on the board there for Tomorrowland. Now, from my research that I was just partaking in, I have just found out that 509 Junior Roller Derby is only a little more than 2 years old. They've only been around for 3 years. Great show out here from a league that has only existed for nearly 3 years. Lead jammer status from Fatal Error. And they are on a power jam with Comet being sent to the box. For I believe that was a low block call on Comet.
Fatal Error trying to push their way through
there from Cherry Garcia to put contact on that jammer.
Pushes Fatal Error to the outside and recycles Fatal Error back.
Great offense there from the Bees. Comet now re-engaged with the pack, looking for that initial pass. Big hit late on Jupiter, and Jupiter lays one right back. Fatal Error through for 4 points on the board. Going to call off the jam for the Bees. As I was saying, the Bees are a somewhat relatively newer league, only been around for around 2 to 3 years. They are located, I believe, in
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
That's my guess.
Yeah, and
is that wrong?
You're right. This is a Spokane area. All right. For a young program, you guys are really holding your own. Much props. Rotten Tomato going up against Grayson the Destroyer. The Strawberry Smash Cake to recycle back, but it's Rotten Tomato with the lead for Tomorrowland.
Great move there from one of our referees, dodging out of the way of the action. And through on the outside line, that is Rotten Tomato.
We have a helmet covered pass to the Postman, which means Postman is now your jammer of record, and the jam is called.
Score is sitting at 132 Tomorrowland to 95 for the Bees.
Oh, right.
Blueberry Bruiser jamming for Tomorrowland against Fatal Error. Quickly through for lead. That is Fatal Error. Blueberry Bruiser also through for their initial pass, though. And quickly evades some jammer on jammer action. Both jammers fighting with the pack.
Fatal Error, their first one to get through. 4 points going on the board for the Bees.
Great offense there from Junie Gloom from Tomorrowland. It's going to be a direction on number 2 for the Bees. And a hit out from number 3-4 on the Bees. That is the Postman. Through for 4 points for Tomorrowland.
Fatal Error gets recycled back and decides to call off the jam. Wearing the star again for Tomorrowland is Rotten Tomato. And it looks like the Bees are going to send out Grayson the Destroyer. The Bees have broke the century mark. They're at 103 now to 136 for Tomorrowland.
That makes my math a lot easier, and I can now tell you that we are at a 33-point difference of a game.
And Rotten Tomato with a spin move gets lead status on that inside corner.
Oh, and that's going to be a cut call on Grayson the Destroyer. So Tomorrowland now with a power jam.
Rotten Tomato through for 4 points. Both packs at full strength now.
Looking for that apex jump. Oh, and that's going to be a cut call on Tomorrowland Jammer. So we're going to have a Jammer do-si-do.
Now that means Grayson the Destroyer is going to have a little bit of time on the track for a power jam.
Rotten Tomato will only have to sit for as long as Grayson the Destroyer did. I was not looking to see if that jammer was standing. Yeah, so it will be almost a full-length penalty.
Grayson holding on to that corner, trying to stay in bounds, but is then hit out by number 577.
That is Strawberry Smash Cake. Blueberry Bruiser, Strawberry Smash Cake.
Because you're not through until you're all the way through. Rotten Tomato back on the track. Man, it's like
What is with the food names on Tomorrowland? Were you guys hungry before your game?
It was like a bad fruit stand out there. We got a Rotten Tomato. We got a Smash Cake.
Blueberry Bruise.
We got some
Cherry Garcia.
Cherry Garcia. What's
it's the whole farmer's market. Both jammers fighting against a great pack there and a hit out. Whoa. Jammer from the Bees jumping over Rotten Tomato.
Cherry Garcia joins that pack. Some nice farm to table derby there.
Love to see him. Looks like we have unofficial.
All right, we had two jammers there for a second, but they're deciding it's going to be Boo Boo for the Bees.
Hey, man, two jammers could be fun.
Yeah.
A little bit of a pack advantage here for the Bees.
Toucan Slam going up for Tomorrowland is able to.
Toucan Slam says, I am the pack advantage and gets lead jammer status for Tomorrowland. Great move there on the outside
Boo
line.
Boo taking a big tumble, and I think we're going to. As a reminder, when a skater is injured, we give them the respect of.
That is Blueberry Bruiser coming up to the line for Tomorrowland. And Fatal Error as your jammer for the Bees.
That whistle means we're going again, and it's Fatal Error that jumps out in front and is able to pick up lead.
Quickly through for that lead status. Still on initial working against that pack is going to be Blueberry Bruiser. And an attempt apex jump denied by the Tomorrowland defense. That defense at the front of Bees blockers really putting in the work to give their jammer the time to score some points. Great hit out there from number 577. That is Strawberry Smash Cake from out of the box.
And a little bit of a waterfall there, and they're able to catch that Tomorrowland jammer back up once she got through.
Direction call going to one of those Bees blockers.
That was Bubble Basher.
And we have had a helmet cover pass. Your jammer now Jupiter.
Jupiter backwards through the pack with the star in hand.
I probably should have said it later. I'm the worst announcer. That's my pet peeve when I'm skating, is when the announcer exposes my sneaky moves. Oh, and that was sneaky too. Through on the outside line.
Apparently Jupiter just goes through the pack backwards.
Yeah. Wow. I'm amazed. They're a blocker unless they're skating backwards. Then they're a jammer.
Yeah, that's it. And Jupiter is able to pick up 4 points there. Grayson the Destroyer going up against Toucan Slam.
Jam is on. And Toucan Slam is your lead jammer for Tomorrowland. Juking around, number 2 on the inside line. Grayson the Destroyer through for initial pass, but Toucan Slam is going to take those 4 points and call it off.
Oh, we got Cherry Garcia coming to the line for Tomorrowland jamming, going up against Fatal Error.
All right, that is Cherry Garcia working it at the front. Gonna seed behind just to make sure they are not gonna get a cut call. You know, sometimes better to be safe than sorry. And running through on the inside line, getting lead. That is Fatal Error.
Cherry Garcia pushed to the outside, forced to the back of the pack again, trying to work their way through.
Great offense there.
Cherry Garcia.
That is going to be a cut call, I believe.
That was a cut track on that. Return to track, Cherry. Called cut, called back.
Refs figured out that was a no pass, no penalty, so rescinded that cut. So Cherry Garcia is back on the track. Cherry Garcia is through for 4 points. Confusing pass, but getting those points either way.
Bad Attitude was trying to hold on to keep them in, but they were able to get through. Comet wearing the star for Tomorrowland, the pivot helmet cover being worn by Rotten Tomato.
We have just 5 short minutes left in this game.
Grayson the Destroyer jamming for the Bees.
Looks like Rotten Tomato looking to play some offense for Comet, but hit out by number 88, who is then hit out by Rotten Tomato.
It was an excellent hit by Bubble Basher.
Comet is through for lead jammer status. And 88 from the Bees looking to do some offense for their jammer. That is Bubble Basher.
Bubble Basher's holding on to that outside line, not letting a single player through.
And Comet is through for 4 points on the board. That is Grayson the Destroyer now completing their initial pass, and Comet gonna call off the jam.
Four minutes left to go in this game. Fatal Error and Toucan Slam. A friendly hello again.
Looks like starting with the pack advantage is going to be the Bees.
Got Rotten Tomatoes sitting in the box.
Up at the front, the jammer for Tomorrowland caught by number 2.
Excellent
that is
apex
Night Terror.
jump. With an apex jump, Fatal Error picks up lead.
And through for initial passes, Toucan Slam. Very bridged out in the front, trying to get some points for their jammers.
Failure to reform call on 522. Oh, no, 520. No,
Just 5-2.
5-2.
That's Blueberry Bruiser.
I got too many numbers.
It's okay.
All
Both jammers through for 4 points. Both jammers beat at this point. Looking for a few more points. Falling off the jam. That is Fatal Error. Gonna call up the jam. 8 points for the Bees. 4 for Tomorrowland.
Coming up on the last 2 minutes of this game, we're looking at Tomorrowland at 167 and the Bees at 130. Well, that's a 37-point difference.
We have Junie Gloom, I believe a newer jammer for Tomorrowland. I don't know if I've seen them out there.
No, I've only seen Judy
Timeout called by the
doing the
Bees.
blocking. Postman jamming for the Bees, going up against Junie Gloom for Tomorrowland, and it's Junie Gloom with a
Yeah,
cut
that's
track.
going to be a cut call on your Tomorrowland jammer. Means the Postman on a power jam.
Which means the Postman has lead. We're going to have a power jam. Postman pushes through.
Hit out there by Comet from Tomorrowland. Run back by Jupiter. Hit out again by Comet. Comet does jamming and blocking, which I think helps because they have that jammer mindset of knowing where they would want to go, so they're going to go right there as well. Both jammers back now on the track. Engaged with the walls.
And Junie Gloom gets through.
This time it is clean and beautiful. Smiles at their coaches.
Because as a blocker, they know where you're going to stand.
This is true. Calls off the jam. We have 30 seconds left on our game time, so I believe we may have one more jam.
This is likely going to be the last jam, y'all. $33 points separating these two teams. Whistle.
Offense there from number 911 on the Bees. That was chaos with some beautiful offense.
Fatal Error picks up the lead for the Bees, which means they're in control.
Rotten Tomato through for initial pass.
Fatal Error juked an apex jump, but then went the other way.
4 points on the board for the Bees. But Rotten Tomato now on a scoring pass and lands that apex jump.
Fatal Error pushed out on the inside.
And gonna call
And
off
that's
the
going to be the
jam.
end of the jam. And unofficially, your score is Tomorrowland 171, Killer Bees 140.
Now, we will wait until that score is final, but once that score is final, we welcome you all to, once the rest have exited and freed themselves if they would like, enter the track and line up for some high fives. And then be sure to stick around because we also have MVP awards.
That
Go
rolling
ahead
whistle
and
means you
line
can go
up.
ahead and get your high fives. Okay. Yeah.
And then the MVP blocker. Do you guys want to do blocker or do you guys want to? MVP blocker for the Tomorrowland.
357.
357. I don't think there's. All right. Next, we're going to do jammer for the Killer Bees.
Number 68.
68. And then jammer for Tomorrowland.
313.
313. And then our overall MVP for the Bees.
34.
34. And then overall for Tomorrowland.
52.
Number 52. Everyone go ahead and give our stream a big wave. MVPs, give them a big wave. And then we'll do a quick MVP photo, I believe. I'll let you play it and then let the next one. Let's go. I feel as though that may have been mildly inaccurate. Slightly.